it's me, OGDuffy, the original gamer, back with a versus video for you guys. Now, Ian Metcalf suggested this, and it's a Capcom classic from 1989, and it is Strider. Okay, brilliant. I love Capcom, and such a lovely, bright, bold game. We'll come to the arcade version in a minute, though. Now, as you know, in these versus videos, we look at the arcade original, and then we compare the various home release versions, you know. So we're going to be looking at the 16-bit systems of the day on the home computers, which are the Commodore Amiga and the Atari ST. And then we will look at the 8-bit computer systems of the day, which were the Commodore 64, the Amstrad CPC, and the humble ZX Spectrum by Sinclair. Okay, and then when we finish looking at them, we will then take a look at 3 console releases of this. The Megadrive, the Sega Master System, and the PC Engine. The PC Engine does very well in these versus videos. So we'll look at all the versions, and then we'll come back together at the end, and I'll give you my versions that I think are the best, the winners in them 3 categories. Strider by Capcom is 34 years of age, as of now. Mate, doesn't it look good? It still looks great in my opinion. So without further ado, remember, stick around to the end for the verdicts, where I'll give you my winners and the losers. And I'll warn you now, tier techs were involved in the conversions of this onto the home computer systems. So I apologise in advance. If you know, you know. Let's go take a look at Strider by Capcom on the arcade first, as always. Strider on the arcade, Capcom 1989. Let's go and have a quick look at this. It's a game that pretty much passed me by in the arcade back in the day, but I do remember its home releases, and we'll come to them anyway, guys. So here we go. First thing that struck me about this was the sound was very good, and the graphics were lovely, bright and bold. You play this guy here, Strider. I could pronounce his hero's name, but hey, I'll have to look it up. Yeah, you can jump, you can sort of slide, and you can do sort of a cartwheel like that. I'd best describe really sort of a run and gun sort of platformer really. Some mad dictator has taken over all the armies of the world, and you have to battle your way through a total of 5 levels to get to him and defeat him. You have sort of this laser sword thing that you use, and all in all, it's a good fun game, you know. Quite difficult in places, but unique, truly unique, and I love the big bright graphics on this. I just think that the big bold sprites are really quite something, you know. Music was good, played well, not so great there, Rob, but hey ho. So you get the general gist of it, but the question is, how are them home systems going to look on this? Because as you can see, it's quite a decent game. So was it too much of a big ask to put this down onto the home computer versions of the day? We shall soon see. I got hit by a spike. Anyway, I hope that gives you a good insight into Strider, a great game. Now, first off, let's go and look at the 16-bit home computer versions. See how well they did.
Firstly, apologies, all of these home computer systems we're going to look at here in the UK were brought to us by tier techs and released by US Gold. Many of you may have very different memories to me than what you're about to hear, but let's wait and see. So this here is the Amiga version. The controls on this felt really awkward, right? And on top of that, this game, didn't it play slow? I mean, just look at the speed of this. Look at the bullets, look how slow they go. Look, that's madness, really. And on top of all this as well, the collision detection on this was just ropey as, mate. So not the greatest of starts, I'm afraid, for the 16-bit home computers. And for the Commodore Amiga, I really thought they could have done better than this. I mean, that bullet speed, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? Well, let's go and see, can the Atari ST do any better? Now, first off, this is the Atari ST, and obviously we can see the first major difference compared to the Amiga, and that is the game speed. It just plays so much faster. Why this is, I really don't know. Just, you know, the Amiga was more than capable. Again, sound was good on this, and I forgot to say that the Amiga sound was pretty decent as well. That was probably one of its better things going for it. Bullet speed on this was still slow, but just slightly faster. Gameplay though, controls were still ropey, and that collision detection again was not the best for the ST. So all in all, not the greatest version either. And to be honest, this was very hard. The gameplay on this was really difficult. So that's what we've had so far. That was the 16-bit versions. Let's go to the 8-bit home computer systems and see if there's any improvement, shall we? This cut down version looks pretty ropey, and again tear techs have struck with the dodgy controllers. Added to this, the poor sound. This really does not stand up as a good conversion to me, guys. I mean, the main positive is the game speed. I think it rolls along at quite a decent speed. But that's all well and good, but there's a real distinct lack of enemies. I mean, the odd one pops up, but then that's it, you know what I mean? So it's a very bit of a lonely experience being Strider on the ZX Spectrum, I'm afraid. I mean, graphically, you can make out the icons, who it is and stuff, but you know what? So far, none of these versions have done it for me. Now, is it just me, guys? Can you remember owning these back in the day? And did you enjoy it, the experience? Am I just getting this completely wrong so far? Let me know in the comments, as always, because it's always great to hear your opinions, guys. Anyway, let's go take a look at the Commodore 64 next. Let's see if that can do any better, eh? Commodore 64 version here. Now, the first thing that really struck me was the icon of the main character. I felt it looked really good, and it was really well drawn and that, and the colour in particular was good. The sound, typical SID chip fashion, really good and really well done. But now we come to the gameplay and the speed. As you can see, the game played really slow, and again, the controls were just very mishmash. It just did not feel right. So far, none of these conversions for me have done it, you know. We're going to have to rely on the Amstrad CPC to see if that can come through and do a better version on these 8-bits so far. A shame, really, because the Commodore 64 version was looking quite good. I mean, here he comes, Mr. Roly-Poly there. What's that all about? Oh dear. So is the Amstrad going to save the day here for the 8-bit systems of Strider? What you're looking at is a ZX Spectrum version, but tier techs in their infinite wisdom have spoilt us. Yes, they gave us a splash of colour. Not only that, a slight improvement on the sounds from the Spectrum version, but still ropey as, mate, still ropey as. Unfortunately, all these 8-bit systems none of them have done it for me at all, guys, you know. Please comment, let me know, but it can't just be me, is it? I just felt that tier techs really could have done a better job on these conversions so far, you know, for the home computers in particular. But you know, it is what it is. This is what we had back in the day. But the Strider, it was a great Capcom game, but just didn't do well at all. Real shame. Now the PC Engine version. Yes, I know the console I'm showing there is the HuCard version, and this come on a CD-ROM. I had real good expectations for this. I mean, initially it looks alright, you know, it doesn't look too bad. This come on a CD-ROM version, as you know, but that little PC Engine system's so sexy. I just love it, I really do. But anyway, I digress, onto the game. Looks alright originally, so the best so far by a country mile, easily. Sounded good, had a great soundtrack, and like I say, already come on a CD. Also, this featured a bonus level over the arcade, an extra level they added. I don't know why, they just did, but that was skippable, which I found a bit odd. But for a PC Engine game, I've always come to expect great things from the PC Engine, but this just didn't feel as good as it should have done, I don't think, for an arcade conversion. What do you guys think? Anyway, next up, we'll go take a look at the Sega Master System. This here, the Sega Master System version. Again, a bit of a slowdown on this one, played quite slowly like some of the other systems we've looked at. But it didn't look too bad, to be fair, I mean, for the Master System. You could see graphically what the game was. The sound was okay for the Master System. Don't get me wrong though, not the greatest Master System game out there, but not the worst either. For me, this didn't set the world on fire, but this destroyed, in my opinion, the 8-bits and the 16-bit systems, computer systems I mean, because the controls just worked a lot better. It felt right, you know, with the gamepad you had like your jumper and your fire there on the 2 buttons, and it just worked a lot better. So all in all, not a bad effort, but I have saved the best till last, guys. You knew what was coming, didn't you? Of course you did. The Sega Megadrive version of Strider here. Now, I did save the best till last. Critically, often credited this was as being the best conversion and was hugely popular on the Megadrive. Graphically and the sound are both really well done, and it retains the playability of the arcade original, and to be honest, it just looked brilliant. It was just such a great conversion. They've done a real great job on this, and I mean, when you put this side by side to the arcade, to be honest, you'd be well happy with this if you'd have bought this back in the day. So unfortunately, my verdict on the console system is probably going to be a lot easier to come to for my verdict than some of them 8-bit systems for sure, and the 16-bit computer systems. But hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, etc. And let's go get to my verdicts now.
Strider by Capcom. Now I need a beer after this one. Today's beer is Malhu. I've had this loads of times. It's a Spanish lager, 5.1%. It's very nice and cheap on draft in holiday destinations in Spain. So I drink a lot of this when I'm out there. Anyway, we digress, people. The reason I'm needing this beer is because Tex, they did it again, guys, didn't they? They did the home conversions. And my God, what a job they did. First off, verdicts. Let's come to the 16-bit home computer systems. Good beer. Right, the obvious difference straight away was the ST version. Played a lot faster. Weren't a lot between these two, really, between the Commodore Amiga and the ST. Quite often, the Amiga wins these ones, right? There weren't a lot between them, as I say. The ST version, although it played faster, was a harder game to play, so it was maybe not as playable, but it's a difficult call. It's a difficult call. If I never have to play it again on either system, it won't be too long. So anyway, I'm going to go to the Atari ST on this one, simply because of the speed. I think the Amiga, the speed on that version made it slightly unplayable, and as difficult and hard as it was on the ST, it just did a better job all round. So on the 16-bit home computer versions, the Atari ST takes it, guys. But you knew that. The 8-bit home computer systems. Apologies, guys. Now, in the comments, let me know your thoughts, because I never owned this back in the day, okay? So please do tell me if I'm being unjust on this, all right? And if I'm being horrible on it, all right? Because, right, let's start off. In third position, Sinclair ZX Spectrum. It just didn't look right. It looked awful. The one positive on the Spectrum version, though, was the speed. Played quite well. Played at a good speed rate. And them sounds. What was going on with them sounds? They were just awful. So I'm sorry, Spectrum owners. I do have a lot of love for the Sinclair Spectrum, but not on Strider on the Sinclair Spectrum, I'm afraid. Again, let me know in the comments, am I right or wrong in saying this? Did you guys buy it and have a lot of fun with it? Because I just didn't think it was great. Anyway, the Amstrad comes in at second position, which means that Commodore 64 takes first. But before we come to the C64, Amstrad CPC. Let's be absolutely honest here, guys. It was just a simple, basic upgrade from the Spectrum version. Had a splash of colour, and the sound was not as bad as the Spectrum version, but it was still bad. Okay, so, I don't know. And now the Commodore 64, which takes it this week, alright. The C64 version, I was really surprised by the sprites, as I said at the time. I thought the character drawing of Strider was really good. I thought, wow, that's pretty impressive. But then the game speed was just so slow and everything else. But In terms of looks, as opposed to the other two systems, and the sound, of course, was good because we saw that SID chip come into its own, as we so often do. It was a no-brainer for me, you know what I mean? The C64 took it over both of them guys, but unfortunately, that's Teartex. They struck again. So, let's move on to those home console versions. Sega Master System. Obviously, I'm not really including this in the competition. I think that's between the PC Engine and the Genesis. Or Megadrive, should I say. Turned all Atlantic on you then, didn't I? On the other side of the pond. Anyway, guys, the Sega Master System version. The controls on the Master System version were better than any of the home computer versions. Nice control system. Didn't look too bad considering the limitations. And far better than the home computer system ports we saw. Oh my god. Teartex, they're great guys over there, weren't they? So unfortunately, it weren't the greatest Sega Master System game of all time, and it didn't do a bad job on it, but it didn't do a great job either, guys. So the Sega Master System, it was better than the home computer systems, but just wasn't brilliant, but it weren't that bad either. If I'd have got it back in the day, I probably wouldn't have been too disappointed, but I probably wouldn't have been, you know, oh, I must go and play that again and again and again, you know, if I was a big fan of Strider. Which brings me to my second system.
What is it?
The PC Engine, which, let's be honest, guys, those that have watched these Versus videos over the few years I've been doing them now, blimey, this is my second year on this. Yeah, you will know that when I've included the PC Engine, it's a real powerhouse of a system, isn't it? And the Sega Megadrive. Now, this game, when it came out on the Sega Megadrive, was rave reviewed, and I reckon it was one of the very good games that really showed off the systems, you know, how good it could be. So in second position, I'm giving it to...
In second place...
the PC Engine. Yep, the PC Engine doesn't do it this time out, guys, and it goes to the Megadrive. Now, the PC Engine version, it looked good, it played fairly well and stuff. Had an extra level, which was a bonus, of course it was, but that extra level was so insignificant, really. A lot of people even commented, and you were able to skip it if you wanted to. So I think even the guys that produced the game knew that it was quite a nothing level, and it was just a bit of a waste of time. The soundtrack, though, was very, very good on the PC Engine version. So all in all, a good effort, but it's gone to the Megadrive.
Well, of course it has.
Well done, Megadrive. You've done well on this. This is really well considered a brilliant conversion by people back in the day. And even now you play it, it still looks and plays really, really well. So Strider on the Megadrive takes it this week. That's my copy right there. Now, your memories, guys, and your opinions. Do you agree with my verdicts? Do you disagree with my verdicts? Have I got it wrong about Teartex? Are they a great producer of quality arcade conversions? Or am I just wrong? Let me know in the comments, guys. All opinions welcome, please do. And also, drop in the comments any future games you'd like to see that converted onto these home systems, alright? And we'll go again and look back at the systems and the rest of it. These are good fun. I enjoy doing these. There's some great stuff out there. If you haven't already done so, guys, hit that like button, do all that good stuff you do, and of course, subscribe, because I appreciate it and it makes me a happy man. Let's grab my beer. It's time to say goodbye, my friends. So let's have your suggestions, all that good stuff. And Strider, it takes it. Nice suggestion, Mr. Ian Metcalf. Cheers. This beer's for you, my friend. Gonna get a refill. Laters.